Maybe now is a retired U.S. Army Major John Spencer. He's the chair of urban warfare studies at the Madison Policy Forum. He is no stranger to war, serving more than 25 years in the Army, including 2 combat tours in Iraq. He's also the author of the book Connected Soldiers. Major, thank you for being with us today. I want to get your take on what's been going on. You and I have been talking since actually before this war started, and you were talking about ways that Ukrainians can protect themselves, particularly in urban warfare. But now overnight, we have seen what has happened in these suburbs of Kyiv. The Russians have left, and what they have left behind is remarkable evidence of war crimes and atrocities. How does this change your thinking, if at all?
It has to change everybody's thinking, Ali. This isn't I study urban warfare. I've been in urban warfare. This isn't bombing of civilians that can be argued away as military targets. It takes an intimate, special kind of evil to wrap the hands of a civilian and shoot them in the back of the head. This is clear. War crimes is not the right word for me. It's evil. And if we don't stand up, I'm speaking for myself as a U.S. citizen, if we don't stand up, why are we a superpower? This isn't political. I'm pretty heated about this. You know that. Mm-hmm.
You are. And so I guess the issue is, as somebody who has served, because I have never done that. So me saying that the West needs to do more or NATO needs to do more, and we have to look at the fact that civilians are being killed in their atrocities, sometimes rings hollow. But you saying it is different, because what I say involves actual danger to people. It involves danger to NATO soldiers and pilots and American Marines and naval officers. So explain that to me. How do you get involved more and not get us into World War III and not get us into a nuclear war with Russia?
Hey, look, I know what this means. I know what I'm saying. I served for 25 years. I served to protect the innocent. We are the leaders of the free world. So yes, and my wife still serves. I don't speak for her, but I'm ready to commit at this moment, unlike I was before this day, to put people in direct contact with Russia, to stop Russia. Call it peacekeeping. Call it what you will. We have to do more than provide weapons. And by we, I mean the United States. Yes, we're going to do it as a coalition with lots of other people. But we are the example. So put boots on the ground. Send weapons directly at Russia. This is a massacre. This is a special kind of evil.
Major, what do you do? What do you say to those people? Because you have them. They're around you. They're your former colleagues. They are your neighbors. There are people who say, we can't get into this kind of a war with Russia because, specifically, since day one, since you and I first talked about this, Vladimir Putin keeps making references to his nuclear arsenal. We've heard from people who say that is mutually assured destruction. That will destroy Russia. He won't do that because there is no existential threat to Russia right now. If NATO and American troops get involved to defend Ukraine, it doesn't actually threaten Russia in any way. But Americans rightfully believe that it might, and he might do. He might use his nukes.
Hey, I understand what that means. Look, I taught strategy at West Point. I understand the lines. I don't think Russia has the ability to do that. It is destruction. It would remove Russia. Like, I'm not a warmonger. I serve to protect the innocent. So I do think me as a U.S. citizen should ask our Congress to authorize our president to do more. And it is a huge risk. I understand that. But today is different.
Today is different, and the innocents are in the crosshairs here. I will ask you, because you've been talking about urban warfare since the beginning, it is remarkable what the Ukrainians have done, both the Ukrainian forces and the Ukrainian citizens, in terms of urban warfare, in terms of fighting back the Russians. Despite all the atrocities we've seen today, they did push the Russians out of those suburbs of Kyiv.
Yeah, absolutely. The Ukrainian is not the David. They fought for us. They fought for Europe, and they paid a huge price. And I think we've only discovered some of the atrocities. There's still so much places that we just haven't gotten into that Russia has deliberately cleansed, massacred civilians. But the Ukrainians won up to this point. The war's not over, but they clearly, using the urban terrain masterfully, defeated Russian forces.
Major John Spencer, retired, is the chair of the Urban Warfare Studies at the Madison Policy Forum. He's the author of Connected Soldiers, and he's got some important things to say. We thank you for saying them here this morning. Before we go